Hello everybody. There's few vehicles that are more legendary than the Jeep Wrangler. It's been around for a long time and it continues to be extremely successful. But Jeep did decide to mess with success just a little bit by introducing a refreshed 2024 Wrangler, which is right behind me. So we're gonna go ahead and take a first look. Now this model, as you can see, does have some fake mud sprayed on it. This is the way Jeeps are meant to be seen, the way God intended. So we might as well look at it in the form that you should put it in if you buy one of these, especially if you choose the Rubicon. So this is the Rubicon trim level. You'll continue to have a wide variety of trim levels as well as powertrain selections with this Wrangler model. And there actually is a new Sport 4xe trim level, so that's actually going to bring down the price of that. Just wanted to go ahead and mention that. But let's talk about the styling. So the 7-slot grille is iconic. Obviously, they weren't going to make this 6 or 8 slots, but they did subtly revise the design a little bit. You have kind of a cut over here, a little element over here by the headlights. And let's talk about the headlights. These have a kind of updated look to them. You got the daytime running light runs in a ring here. It is LED as far as the headlight itself. Down here in our big, thick, meaty bumpers, we've got the LED fog lights as well. Now, another way you're gonna know this is a refreshed Wrangler is that we have 10 new wheel designs. The sizes range quite a bit, starting at 17-inch alloy wheels. Like I mentioned earlier, we do have the Rubicon, so these are gonna be smaller wheels with big, thick, meaty all-terrain tires. You can actually get Rubicon X trim level. That's going to give you 35-inch tires. So obviously there's few vehicles out there that can be as capable as the Wrangler. Overall, you know, your capability is going to remain the same. You have the same kind of ground clearance. This is the 4xe, by the way. So right here is actually your charge slot, just kind of subtly hidden up here by your Rubicon branding. And you also would notice that it is traced in blue here, here, and here. Another subtle way that you'll know this is the 4xe.
And I do want to point out that the 4xe is actually the best-selling plug-in hybrid in America, which is quite the interesting fact that, you know, the best-selling plug-in hybrid is a Jeep Wrangler. Now, as far as the side design is concerned, no big changes here. Of course, this is your signature Wrangler boxy look. Of course, you can take the doors off, you can take the windows out, as you see here. This is all fully open. I mean, everything about a Wrangler can basically be taken off if you have enough time to put it back together. Now, moving around to the rear design, we do have pretty much the same look. Jeep didn't really even say that they changed the rear design. Of course, the Wrangler has pretty much had the same design for a long time because it is iconic, and I'm tripping over the rocks here. Now, as far as some of the design elements, you have your big spare tire right here, and off to the side, we have our LED taillights. This, of course, is a higher-end Wrangler, so you get the LED taillights. Down below that, you have your recovery hooks finished in the blue as well. Now, when it comes to the towing, it's going to be a 5,000-pound maximum, and for your safety systems, there have been some changes for 2024. So first of all, you are going to have standard front side curtain airbags and side rear curtain airbags. That is a new standard feature for 2024. Now, in addition, they are making forward emergency braking as standard on Sport S trim levels above, in addition to adaptive cruise control also being standard on Sport S trims and above. But guys, there is a big tech change inside the cabin of this new Wrangler, so let's go ahead and dive into that.
Let's go ahead and climb inside of this dirty Wrangler. All right, so as you can see, really, as soon as you look inside of the cabin, we have tech improvements and luxury improvements. That's pretty much the summary of what Jeep has changed with the Wrangler. Before we get into the details, let's talk about the seats. As you can see, these are going to be finished in a leather material. It's still very durable feeling. Nice thick padding. You have the color contrast stitching, Rubicon branding up there as well. But I'll go ahead and let Mason get inside the cabin of the truck here, and we'll look at the interior as a whole. Now looking at the material quality, and here we'll start at the muddy door trim here. Of course, this is going to stay the same because you want this to be able to get dirty. You also remove the doors themselves. Oftentimes the owners will. So this kind of stays the same, but the overall dashboard, I think, is where the improvements come in. We have a leather material that covers all through the top, all through the middle here, and this handlebar all through here. I do like this touch. Really classes up the cabin, makes it feel higher quality, because we all know at this point, you know, Rubicon, even though it is about being tough and rugged, it is also still a very expensive trim level. So it's nice to have, you know, some extra luxury touches inside of the cabin. Now, turning our attention next to our gauge cluster, this looks the same as last year. You've got the 8-inch display in the middle, analog gauges on the outside edges. We've got the nice Jeep steering wheel. It's going to be leather wrapped. Got the same blue color contrast stitching through there. Storage, 2-tiered. Plenty of space for, I don't know what that is, spare parts or something rattling around in there. Now right here we've got our 4-wheel drive controls. Of course, this is the automatic transmission. You can still get a manual transmission. We've got some plugs located up here, 12-volt outlet. You also have your front and rear locking differential button right there, and some buttons where you can just attach various kinds of accessories to the vehicle itself. Now up above that we have our dual zone climate control setup. Nice and easy to use, physical controls as you'd expect. But let's not waste any time. Let's talk about this right here. This is the new 12.3-inch display. And this is now standard equipment, so you're going to see this on all the Wrangler models now, giving you a much, much larger display, and also giving you the newest version of Uconnect. That's going to be Uconnect 5.0, which is just a lot smoother, has functionality such as wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. Rising up here, we do have an auto-dimming mirror, our 3 Homelink universal remotes built into the visor. And up top here, we have the very cool, I believe it's called Freedom Top. This is a cloth top that can go all the way from the back to the front. So you can really, just as simple as pressing this button right here, turn this from an SUV to a convertible, and that's pretty cool.
Now here in the rear of the Jeep Wrangler, you're not going to see any changes for 2024. I mean, it is just a refresh, so they focus mainly on exterior enhancements as well as the technology enhancements in the front. The legroom is going to be the same. Our headroom is going to be infinite, given that we have no roof. Very nice convertible open air experience. And then here in the center on this model, we do have vents, which is certainly very nice. We have window switches. And check this out, guys. We have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 USB ports in the back, as well as a household style outlet. So you're definitely going to be able to keep everything charged up, you and all of your friends, on the adventures that you're on. Now let's go ahead and check out the cargo area. So in typical Jeep fashion, we do have just the 2-part opening trunk set up. So you can open that part up, the glass opens independently. And as far as the amount of space in here, you're going to have the same amount as you would pre-refresh. Like I mentioned, the refresh doesn't really change anything like that. We do have a little bit of storage underneath for our charging cable, and the seats do fold 60-40 split. Now, I do want to point out, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please go ahead and do that, because we will be doing a detailed full review of this refreshed Jeep Wrangler, where we cover all the specs and figures that you might be curious about. Now, when it comes to the powertrains for this refreshed Jeep Wrangler, they're not really going to change a lot. So you're still going to have a lot of powertrain choices, but they have expanded the availability of the plug-in hybrid 4xe model to the sport trim level, which of course means you have a lot more affordable of a price point, and that's based on demand for this 4xe because it's very popular, actually. It's the most popular plug-in hybrid. So the 4xe is going to continue to have the 375 horsepower 2-liter 4-cylinder, 470 pound-feet of torque. We've driven that on the channel. If you want to watch a test drive of that, you can go find that on our channel. You also have a standard 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, 270 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque, and a manual is an option on that particular engine configuration. You also have a 3.6-liter V6 engine, 285 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque on that one. And then finally, you end at the highest end Awesome configuration, the 6.4 liter V8, 470 horsepower on that model, 470 pound-feet of torque. So that's certainly the top pinnacle powertrain for this Wrangler model. So you can get that if you're wanting to spend the big bucks on a Wrangler. Now, you can order one of these Wranglers if you want one right now, actually, but deliveries won't start until late 2023, so don't expect to find these at your local dealership in the next month or two. It will be a little bit later in the year. Now, if you haven't hit that subscribe button down below already, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, because it helps get us to programs like this where we can show you some of the latest cars first. Also, if you're already a subscriber, we really appreciate your support. You make this all possible. If you haven't had a second to check out our TikTok or Instagram pages, please go ahead and do that. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.